Metro Bowling Association Hall of Fame. 19 months in waiting, we've been waiting for this day. I appreciate the 8 inductees for their patience and making sure this actually happened. For a long time, this board did not think this was going to happen with many dates we played around with. But tonight is your night, and it was a unanimous decision by the board that we did not take a 2021 class. We wanted the proper respect for you 8 individuals tonight for going in by yourselves. At this time, I would like to introduce our board members that are in attendance. President Pam Panter. Association Manager Angie Decker. Yes, we're going back. We're going back. Vice President, Director George Weaver. Director Keith Frost. Director Rita Lavender. Director John Farrell. Director and now new Vice President Phil Vance. And new to the board, Director Stevie Davino. Also new to the board, Tiffany Tomsick. And myself, Director, now new Association President, Todd Smith. And our current Association Manager, David Wallace. Thank you all for all of your work to make this thing happen tonight. This time I want to acknowledge the current Hall of Famers that are in the room. Roy Kello. Alicia Kello, Doug Ogle, Cindy Lumpkins, Shawn Farrell, Pam Panter, Chuck Parrish, Bill Powers, Vinnie Adrian, Sherry Foster, Karen Cora, Betty Bailey, Regina Jewell, also board member, sorry about that, Terry Gilman, and our Director of Entertainment tonight, Hall of Famer Matt McCary. Thank you once again. At this time, I'd like to recognize the Hall of Famers that we have lost since we last gathered in this room. For a moment of silence, Marilyn Bruner, Bob Edlin, Millie Lotz, Wilma Betts Massey, Helen Owen, Wilfred Dink Son, Peg Bargatze Sumner. Our first presenter tonight is a former association president and inductee in 2004. She will be inducting for meritorious performance, Pam Panter.
Good evening, everyone. As everyone has expressed tonight, I am also happy that we're finally here to honor the class of 2020 and to the Louisville Metro Bowling's Hall of Fame. Congratulations to each of you. As a member of the Louisville Women's Bowling Association, WIBC, Metro Louisville, WBA, and the Louisville Metro USBC for over 30 years, Angie Decker has always been in positions of service. She first started as a league officer. Then she served on various committees with the Louisville Women's Bowling Association. Angie was elected numerous times as a delegate to the state and the national conventions without even having a position on the board. Angie also served as the association manager for Metro Louisville USBC and for the merged Louisville Metro USBC. She also has been the Louisville 600 Club Secretary Treasurer for almost 25 years. In all of her service roles, Angie has gone above and beyond what was required. She just loves helping the bowlers. Angie is a hard worker who jumps on all of her tasks immediately. She is super organized, ask anybody. She is efficient, she's dependable, and she's always ready to tackle any challenge. She also is smart, sassy, and very opinionated. Who knows where she gets those traits from? Wonder. Angie led the way during the merger process, closing 3 businesses to create one new association that we know now. She made the merger move quickly, correctly, and smoothly. She was instrumental in starting the online registration for local associations to have tournaments. Angie serving as the association manager made my job as president much easier. She was definitely the right person for the job. Angie's love for the sport and its bowlers and her dedication to the future of bowling makes Angie an excellent choice for the Hall of Fame. I must also point out, in her 30-plus years of bowling, she's bowled well a few times. Her high game is 277, and her high series is 687. She's been in second place on a lot of teams and in doubles, but she really excels when it comes to singles. In singles, she has won the local and state 600 club tournament, and she's won the senior state tournament 2 times. The most exciting tournament was her victory in Reno at the bowling stadium in 2018. She was the USBC Senior National Champion in her age division, which happened to be what I called the babies, because that was the younger group. I was so happy and so proud to be there when she won. So, Angie has won on every level. She's won on the local level, she's won on the state level, and even on the national level. But on a personal note, if you don't already know this by now, Angie is my daughter. I'm very proud of you tonight. No one but your dad, your husband Jeff, your best friend Laura, and I know the level of dedication that you have for promoting the sport of bowling. You set an example for all women who strive to better themselves and better the lives of those around them. You are a remarkable woman. And Angie, thank you for being my doubles partner and for all the fun memories we have made. Remember when we went to Ponderosa Ranch in Lake Tahoe? All the fun we had when we went to Fort Lauderdale, when we went to Niagara Falls and rode on the Maid of the Mist, all the history about JFK in Dallas, even attending a minor league game in Salt Lake City. It was called The Buzz, and it was family night. And the families got in, for a special deal, one price for the whole family. Well, we convinced the people there at the ball stadium that our entire group was related, so we could get the family rate. We had our grandma, we had our mom, we had daughters, we said aunts, we said cousins, and they let us all in there. We also use a stapler when we go on bowling trips too, for the curtains in the hotel room, or for mending someone's bowling shirt that ripped during a tournament, leaving restaurants without paying, because we thought, oh, we already thought one of y'all paid. And then one time we were eating in a restaurant, we had all finished our meal. You're just sitting around talking, and all of a sudden they come out and say, the kitchen's on fire, everybody needs to leave. So we left again without paying. Looking at a team photo and not even recognizing one of your own members and asking, who is that person? Why do they have our shirt on? What fun we have had. And I look forward to sharing more memories with you, Angie, especially, and our teammates. Angie is a loyal, trusted friend and a loving wife and daughter. I love you, Angie. So would everyone please join me in welcoming your 2020 Louisville Metro USBC Hall of Fame inductee for meritorious service, and has always been my Hall of Fame daughter, Angie Decker.
Now I gotta put on my old people glasses. Hello. There we go. Okay. Getting organized. She said I was organized. All right. First, I want to thank the good Lord above for bringing us all here tonight. This last year has been a difficult one for everyone, and it's shown us that life is short and things can change very quickly. He blessed me tonight by surrounding me with those that mean the most to me in my life. But still, I'm missing a couple that are not here tonight. A couple of those are actually battling COVID as we speak, and others are quarantining themselves because they had unplanned surgeries. But what I'm most grateful is that God has held my father's health in his hands so that he could be here tonight. I want to thank the Louisville Metro USBC for recognizing me with this great honor. I join a group of bowlers who have meant the world to me and have meant the world to Louisville bowling. And these Hall of Famers have made personal differences in my own life. But what I am most honored about is to join in the Hall of Fame with my mother. To me, that is the true meaning of tonight and what means the most. I want to congratulate the other 2020 inductees. We will certainly be the group long remembered for those who got inducted during a global pandemic and had to wait more than a year to get to this night. Each of you have made your mark on the Louisville bowling community. Whether your Hall of Fame recognition has been in your life of service in promoting the sport of bowling or achieving a superior level of performance, your impact will be long remembered, and congratulations to you all. Our love of bowling is what brings most of us here tonight. My love of bowling started pure and simple. It was a way to spend time with my mom. Over time, it has brought me some of the greatest friends and friendships that I have. And it certainly brought me some of the greatest adventures and memories, and hopefully many more to come. When I'm heading out for a bowling tournament, yes, I'd like to think that we're gonna bow well, but to be honest, I'm more excited about the time that I'm gonna spend with my bowling family and figuring out what shenanigans we can get into. Whether it be accidentally stealing a pizza, accepting free drinks from strange men on an airplane, and honey, I'll just explain that one later. Losing my Fitbit on the New York roller coaster. My mom stapling the curtains to the hotel room wall because she wanted to make it darker. See, she told that story, but she didn't say it was her. Staying up all night playing the Wheel of Fortune with Cindy in Reno until we literally had to bow at 8 a.m. in Nationals. And I mean, we stayed up the entire night sitting at one machine because we kept winning. And we went straight to bowling, and we did pretty good there too. Hitting the airport, and Sherry realizes that we're getting ready to get on an airplane and fly to Nationals, and she forgets the most important thing that you need to take: your bowling ball. Yet what she did remember to bring was her leopard print underwear that when we went through TSA, of course, hers was the bag that got snagged. And yes, he pulled them out. Watching Jamie, and Jamie, I'll just let you know, Jamie Gibson was supposed to be here tonight. That's one of the ones that I refer to. She's battling COVID, so send her your prayers. Watching Jamie drive backwards up an off-ramp. Kicking Betty's damn it doll that we named James, which is her husband in case you didn't know, up and down the lanes because we weren't bowling very well, and then we decided to switch to doing jello shots. I think that was at a national tournament as well. Or simply just staying up all night talking with Laura in a hotel room, and still we had to get up and bow early the next day. Those are the reasons that I bowl. I want to go good, but the memories is what makes it for me. And that's just a few that I cherish. Some of my bowling family I have lost over the years. Mary Van Meter, Mary Jane Meyer, and Ann Toby. All three of those women are Hall of Famers. And I know many of us in this room miss Mary Van's chocolate chip cookies on our bowling trips. See, they're good. Some of my bowling family has had to quit because of health reasons. But to my bowling family, Cindy Lumpkins, Betty Bailey, Jamie Gibson, Sherry Disney, Lorraine Cook, Jill Gravens, Laura Davis, and Pam Panter. You are more to me than my bowling partners or my bowling friends. You are my family. You are the ones that I know when bowling is over, you will still be there in my life. For that, I am eternally grateful, and I love you very much. Tonight we will hear many stories about bowling, but I want to speak quickly about something slightly different. It's not often that you're given a chance to publicly thank those that mean the most of your life. And I want to take this chance to thank the 4 most important people in my life because they're all here tonight. To my best friend, Laura Davis. She and I have known each other since I was 12. So since I'm only 21, which I'm trying to figure out how Mom said I've been bowling more than 30 years, we've been friends. So if you do a little bit of the math, that really means we've been friends like 43 years. We know so much dirt on each other now that it would be dangerous if we broke up our friendship. Every day, Laura, you teach me about loyalty and support. There is nothing that I know that you would not have my back on. Through all of life's up and downs, you have been there for me, and I know that you always will be. God has blessed me with the greatest friend that I could ever have or would ever deserve. I hope you always know how much I love you and how much I appreciate who you are and all you do. To my dad, Gordon Panter. For those of you who don't know, my father is battling bone and bladder cancer. He's also struggling with very early memory issues. Just the blessing that he's here with us tonight means the world to me. My father is a very quiet man. Maybe that's because Mom and I were in the same house at the same time and he just decided that was safer. But through his cancer treatment, he became the first person in the U.S. to trial a new drug. They didn't know if it would work or even what the side effects were at the time. But my dad just said, if it would help someone, he should do it. Not help himself, but help someone else. Dad, every day you show me a strength and a willingness to help others. In school, you never worried about my grades, just what kind of person I was and would I help others. Dad, you know still that one of my favorite things is when you and I kind of pick on Mom and I hear your laughter. I hope that you know how proud I am to be your daughter, and I hope you are proud of the person that I turned out to be. I love you very much. To my mom, Pam Panter, as I stated before, my mom is also in the Hall of Fame. So being a part of this with her is an honor above measure. Mom, you are the person that piqued my interest in working in the business side of bowling. Your many years of commitment and dedication are unsurpassed by no one, in my opinion. You were the one that taught me when you commit, you commit. You always fulfill your commitments 150%. Even if it makes you unpopular, you taught me to stay committed to the right things and always following the rules. I have tried my best to live up to those expectations in everything I do. When someone tells me that I'm just like my mom, that's the biggest compliment I ever get. No matter what the future holds for Dad's health, I'm always here for you. I hope that you're proud of the daughter that you have, as I have always been proud to be your daughter. I love you and know that you're the best mom in the world. And finally, to my husband, Jeff Decker. Our life together has certainly been unconventional. Most of our life together has been apart. But I'm so happy that you finally retired and came home. You chose a life of Air Force service to our country, and for 37 years you were willing to give everything to secure our freedoms. You teach me every day about honesty, integrity, and character. It's not easy standing by your principles each day in the world we live, but you do it with unfailing faith and the hope for a better tomorrow. While not a bowler yourself, you stand beside me and support me when the demands of bowling are high. Whether it's the many thankless hours as association manager, running many tournaments, or simply heading out of town to bowl myself, you have never wavered in your love and support. I will never be able to thank you for all your help doing lane certification, which is by far the worst and most physical bowling job you'll ever do. David, be glad you don't have to do it anymore. Now, Jeff, I rely on you for your help and your support in the care of Dad. I love you with all my heart and cherish each day that we have together. I love being your wife, and I thank you for loving me for exactly who I am. Thanks.
Congratulations to Angie Decker. Our next presenters will be presenting someone for performance. They'll be presenting us together a two-time Kentucky Open winner and 2007 Hall of Fame inductee, Daniel Ferris, with his dad, Chuck Ferris.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here as we witness 8 extraordinary people get inducted into the Louisville Metro USBC Hall of Fame. Each of them had a different path that led them to this point, and it's our pleasure to tell you about Doug Barker's path. I do want to start off and remind everyone, in case you didn't know, we were unable to have this event last year, and it's quite special that we can all meet tonight. I'd heard that we weren't going to be able to hold this event this year, but rumor has it Doug has our governor's cell phone number and called in a favor. For the last 25 plus years, Doug has coached everyone, from young bowlers just starting in the game to top level collegiate players vying for national titles. He was the Kent Bowl Youth Director for 20 plus years and is responsible for a lot of the talent that has come out of this city. Doug's relationship with his former players is something special, and his relationship with people in general is something we should all strive to have. His relationship with his mother, who is in attendance tonight, is so close. She even tells him when she rings the bells, and I'm not sure that's something a son should know about his mother. As with most talented bowlers, their knowledge soon begins to exceed that of their coaches. Well, Doug wasn't going to let that happen. He took the necessary classes and became a level 2 instructor through the Dick Bridger coaching program and a bronze, then silver certified coach at the USBC level. His knowledge of the sport is so vast that Bowling This Month invited him to be a columnist for their publication for 7 years and to coach at the Bowling This Month Super School from 2007 through 2009. 4 times he found his name on the list of Bowler's Journal's top 100 coaches, ahead of thousands who were nominated. One of them is standing next to me. I think you were 101st a couple times, right there.
Yeah.
I would argue that Doug deserved to be on the top of that list many times. But as we all know, those things can be somewhat political. And in case you all didn't know, politically speaking, Doug is about half a board left of Bernie Sanders. Doug spent 3 years as the head coach of the PRP girls high school team, reaching the state championship final every year with 1 state title and 2 runners-up. I think, Dad, I had heard that before each match, Doug and the girls would crank up some country music to get hyped up and ready to compete. In his never-ending desire to help grow the sport, Doug started the bowling program at Bellarmine University in 2005. Anyone who has competed in or coached college bowling knows how difficult it can be. Doug not only started a program from the ground up, but within 2 years had both the men and women inside the top 64 in the country, which qualified them for the sectionals. In years 3 and 4 of the program, Doug took the women to nationals, which featured the top 16 teams in the nation. In 2009, they finished a program best 7th at the ITCs. With all of his time spent in the pit area coaching, Doug amassed quite an impressive resume on the lanes. 12 300 games, 7 800 series, 6 299s, 17 11 in a rows, and 95 clean 30s.
When I think of Doug, the words hustle, loyalty, and respect come to mind, along with compassion and empathy. Always willing to go the extra mile for his players and his friends. And while we are 2 different people, it's those differences that have allowed us to build a very close friendship. I would like to take a moment and ask everyone in this room whether you learned from Doug as a player or as a coach to stand up where you are. This is just a small sample size of the effect that Doug Barker has had on the bowling community in Louisville. And there are hundreds of bowlers nationwide who would be standing as well. Knowing full well that he wants to come up here and hug us, we would like to welcome our friend Doug Barker into the Louisville Metro USBC Hall of Fame.
I got to get those cheaters too many. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. You made me laugh and cry. And Mom, we'll have to talk about the ringing the bells and explain this. Just not in front of my brothers and sisters. Excuse me, sorry. Those of you who know me or have read anything I've written over the years know that brevity is not my specialty. However, thanks to Eric and Vern, I have an extra 20 minutes because they each proxy me 10 of their minutes. So I've got, so there you go, Todd. No shepherd's I'm elected with 3 other amazing athletes, all of whom I believe have better performance resumes than I. But all of them are more importantly good people. I watched Matt as a youth bowler when he was one-handed. I calmed his mom down one evening in a Rose Bowl when Matt had a wreck. I've argued with his dad about the good of the game, where we were both working for the same goals, even when we disagreed. And I watched Matt become a 2-handed bowler and become amazing. Matt comes from a family that has given more than people know to the bowling community in Louisville. Matt has done much for bowling in our area, not just in performance, but running tournaments and being an emissary and mentor for the youth bowlers in the city. I see that in my youth leagues often. The last 800 I shot was in the tournament at Louisville that Doug Ashton ran. I was crossing with Eric Smallwood that day, and Eric, who is a good friend, did not realize I had shot 800 because he was focused on his own bowl. He did get excited when I told him. And if that's the last one I shoot, I could not have chosen a better person to shoot it with. Eric also took a whole Sunday and sat with me in match play in the Senior Open. Eric is a good man, a kind soul, and a true friend. I'll get back to him in a minute. Just don't ever stand in front of lockers with bowling balls where Eric's around, because sometimes they fall on your toes. I proceeded in that tournament to win my first match play, and then I came up against Vern. As seems to happen to me whenever I have bowled Vern, head to head, I went home. Now Vern, as you all know, is one of the kindest human beings you'll ever meet. And he makes me feel good about losing. Every time he beat me, which is every time we bowl, I felt good about it. Not sure about that, so. He wins with class. He always roots for me, and has always rooted for me when I was injured. Always has a moment for a hug. And he's always very humble about how good he really is. Back to Eric. Those who don't know, I coached Eric as a youth bowler at Pro Bowl 1, and even some as an adult bowler. I was around Eric when he was a little rough around the edges, and when he had a little temper. And yeah. Is that true? Okay. And trust me, standing in front of Eric even then and telling him what he was doing wrong, and I'm doing this and thinking, if he hits me, I'm in trouble. But Eric and I have developed a strong bond, and I can't say how proud I am of the person that Eric has become. He's an amazing bowler. He is a father, and an amazing one. He's a good husband. And one of my most treasured pictures is me in my motive pullover, Eric in his uniform at Roger Massey's funeral. And every time that comes up on my screensaver, I get goosebumps. That one meant a lot to me. Don Imes. Well, no one ever knows how to say his last name when they look at it. No one works harder coaching kids. No one is more generous with their time, often on the lanes. Don and I have coached together and learned from each other for 20 years. It is a sincerely deep honor to be in this class with such a close friend. Don and I coach a league together every summer at Kimball and have done it for a long time, and it's very successful. Tim James. Tim, you're missed. You need to come back. For those that don't know Tim, he's beyond explanation. He's the most self-deprecating person you'll ever meet. He loves people. He loves our sport. He loves to talk. He's immensely proud of AJ. And he'll always lend a helping hand. Just don't ask for a helping set of eyes. He makes fun of himself first. Remember that. There are tons of other folks I need to thank, and I want to thank everybody, but I'll try to keep myself flowing. My grandfather, Henry Thornburg, who passed a few years ago, I guess 20 years ago. I did get to shoot an 800 and a 300 before he died, and that was one of those biggest thrills, was calling him on the phone and telling him. He started taking me bowling when I was about 6, and what I was told was, if I didn't get pins, I had to sit out the next frame. It makes you learn to focus early. He was an amazing athlete, a fantastic golfer, and he was one of the better bowlers in Huntington, West Virginia at the time. He taught me about sportsmanship, winning with grace, losing with class, along with celebrating the success of others. Along with my grandfather was my great-great-uncle Judge Newman, who went with my grandfather and I to practice. Judge was at the very top of the bowlers in Huntington at the time, even though I didn't realize it, and he averaged 201 2 different years in the 1960s. So he was a monster at that point. Watching him bowl, my grandfather was as smooth as Vinnie, and my uncle hooked the ball like Jeremy Coulter. They taught me more than they realized, though I suspect they knew I was learning from them all the time. Next was Charlie Baker. He was my boss, my friend, my coach in the early 80s. He made me shoot 10 pins for hours on end when I wanted to practice. He taught me about lane play, much of the mental game, as well as how to treat people. I know he's upstairs right now, watching, unlit cigar in his mouth, and he just bet an exacta box. Johnny G, who's not here, I was hoping he would be, is a man who is always upbeat and happy, and always happy to talk about the game. Johnny educated me in many ways on lane conditions by letting me hang out at the Vernon, look around before, during, and after leagues to see what the oil had done. He had no idea what he was doing at the time, but I learned so much from him just sitting around and talking, as we all can do when we listen to those with years of experience. Mike Heiser. Mike taught me the importance of how a ball can be manipulated to create a slightly different motion with drillings. He let me experiment with off-the-wall stuff as long as I did not complain if it didn't work. Bob Carter. Bob let me run and develop sport shot leagues, win sport shots from 2-to-1 instead of 3.5-to-1. He taught me how to tape lanes. Angie, I understand how tough that is. I have some idea. And he let me create my own patterns for wood because there wasn't very many wood centers at the time working with USBC. Helen Owen, Bill and Rob Carter, for letting me run what I think is a fantastic youth league, and letting me have the time to develop coaches like Troy Brewer, Tim James, Marcus Pryor, Allie Hendon, and many others, as well as all of the bowlers who have come through Campbell in the last 20 years. The list is long, but I'll name a few. Derek Roseberry, Sebby Silvestri, Kelsey Miller, Tracy Miller, Tony Preston, Daniel Ferris, the Palmers, the Hillarys, Brad Dubby. The list is pretty long, and I won't read them all. And a special thanks to 4 ladies that are back there and their cohorts who could not make it tonight for allowing me to have an amazing time at Bellarmine, and for you all getting nationals in the short time that we did was an amazing feat. And you all should always be proud of that. You'll always be a big part of my life, as will Rachel and Stephanie and the Carols, as well as all the boys. KK has not made it tonight, Kevin Kirstein, but I had an amazing group of young men at the time too. A special thanks to a bowler who made a real effort to get here, and he is very talented and works hard at his craft. He has a chance to be another in Louisville's long string of great youth bowlers that Eric was involved in, Daniel was involved in, and I'm going to miss somebody if I try to name everybody. Of course, my daughter Allison, but Robbie Oakley, who slid in late. You're going to hear his name a lot in the next few years. A friend who I've known a little longer than Angie's friend. I've known him 46 years, David Basher, who's back there somewhere. But David, he never taught me anything about bowling. He doesn't believe in adjusting on the lanes. He thinks that every shot should be the same. But he and I have been friends since 1975. We have competed with each other and against each other in multiple sports, and we've bowled together for a long time. Thank you, David. It means more than you realize. Somebody who's not here, Rusty Gates. Those who know Rusty know he's a friend, and he's one of my favorite people to bowl with. Coaching him early taught me the value of patience and the value of repeating information when you're coaching. Chuck, I know this is going to distress a lot of you all, but I'm going to say some good things about him. Chuck and I spent hours in his pro shop talking about lane play, drilling, humidity, ball weight, spare balls. We discussed it all. We disagreed. And if you all have ever seen us discuss, you'd think we're arguing. We're not. We never get mad. I've never been mad at Chuck, except for the time he broke the rule and complained about 2 pins. The story is that one of our boys team missed 3 in a row. Coaches are not supposed to cuss at their players, and Chuck said a bad word. I consider Chuck truly a friend, and he's a great coach. He's straight now. I'm on arm swing after a national coach really messed it up. He spent hours trying to help me take strain off my knees, and he yelled at me when I moved after the front 11, and the ball was a little high, so I made a little adjustment left. He yelled at me when I came off the lanes. He didn't care. We have laughed at each other, with each other, about each other. He's an amazing dude who has had many blissful moments. I've watched so many great local ballers roll the ball and tried to figure out how they're doing it. Watching Roy Kello do what he does with the ball has always been awesome to me. I don't know how he does it. I've asked him that question. He says he doesn't know how he does it, but he does it. Watching Vinnie, just smooth as silk. Elisa, who just kills the pen. What do you laugh at there, Chris? What's that? Oh, yeah. Well, Daniel, who doesn't hook the ball, but always scores. Well, when you throw in one-handed, two-handed, you can hook the ball. Pete Skaggs, Larry Reese, Roger Hall, yes, Roger, Gino Reshaver, Ron Bronner, Mike Wolf, Dave Hallett, so many others over the year, and I'm going to miss somebody, so I hope nobody takes it personal. What I've come to realize is that we don't know who's watching us when we're bowling, and the amount of amazing bowlers that I've seen here in 35 years, give or take, leaves me awestruck. There's so much talent here. Motive, you all know I was a Motive ball rep I was on Motive staff for 7 years. And I'm not going to sit up and tell you that Motive has the best bowling balls here that any brand does. What I am going to tell you is the value of loyalty. When I was on staff, if I had a family problem and had not bowled for a little while or had an injury, Motive said, okay, we'll wait. When my coaching came first, Motive said, we'll wait. When I had to give up competitive bowling due to my knees, Dan Wilbur, who is the president of Motive, called me personally on the phone, thanked me, and told me I was always on the Motive staff. I will always return that loyalty, because loyalty matters. I wanted to thank those who voted for me, and I'm not sure who wrote the essay. Rumor has it that it was either Wilmer or Roger, and Pam, you may know. You don't, okay. Okay, so I think it was Wilma. Wilma, thank you. Wilma and Roger and I and Kat and my wife Kathy, we traveled the road many times together, bowling in tournaments. They must have done an amazing job of writing the essay. I don't believe I belong on stage with, such as performance-wise, with these other three bowlers. They're in a different league than I am. A couple of friends, Barb Duffy and DJ Daniels. We met online in the late 90s on a website called Bags on Balls. Now you got it? Our friendship has grown through the years. We physically met at a clinic in 1999 at Princeton Lanes that DJ ran. We traveled to nationals for a number of years and to other tournaments. DJ, like me, sees bowling as a game of math. I learned a ton about lane play and shot execution from him. And I don't understand how he's not in the Cincinnati Bowling Hall of Fame. It's going to come. Barb, what a steady bowler. She is in 2 Hall of Fames in Illinois, and she's a former national record holder. She taught me the importance of repeatability of your shots. Her friendship over the years has meant more than just bowling friends. She is and always will be a member of our family. I tried many times to bowl using DJ's brains and Barb's repeatability. Some people that are here that I'm so happy are here. My 2 sisters, Becky and Kathy, who I'm just honored that they came. They're not bowling fans. They think it's silly sometimes how much I bowl, but they've always supported me. I've left vacations early to go bowl. I've missed family events to bowl. They've never given me a hard time about it. My niece Ashley, thank you just for being who you are, and I know that I'm always okay with you. You know what I'm saying? Huh?
Always.
Always. Yep, I'm your favorite uncle.
That's right.
That's right. My parents. Oh wait, I forgot one person, Martha. My cousin Martha, who is Judge's daughter. She's been here too, and she has always been very supportive of what I do because her dad was an athlete. And Martha is my sister from another mother. And she really is. We are just on the same way. My parents. Apparently, when I was young, and my mom, who's over there taking the video right now, aka the world famous Potsy, would take me grocery shopping, and I would ask people from the grocery cart what your bowling average was. I know I was a big fan of Bowling for Dollars, and I knew exactly to this day that the PBA comes on at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon before Wild World of Sports on ABC. My dad worked hard when I was young, and when I was growing up, and he traveled often. But when he could, he would go bowling or golfing with either of my grandfathers and I. He rolled it smooth and straight over the second arrow. Both of my parents encouraged my love for sports. They were wise. It kept me out of trouble. The people who deserve the most thanks are my family. My daughter, Allison, who gave me one of my biggest thrills in bowling when she won the Kentucky Open. I think I ran out 18, 20 lanes up on the point course when she threw the last shot. I was also on the lane beside her when she shot her first 300. She's chatting me up before her 12th ball, and I'm like frozen, like, what is she doing talking to me right now? Well, she threw the ball and stood there and watched it, and I think I ran 5 lanes to the right to run the shot out. She's back into bowling, and I'm glad to see that. My daughter, Madison, who grew to not like bowling, she became a fantastic soccer player and has never complained when I bowl. She spent many evenings with watching me bowl and hanging out with teammates. My daughter, Katie, who at age 5 could give you a 15-minute lecture on the free arm swing, but by age 12 was an amazing dancer and cheerleader who no longer bowled. My son, Chris, who couldn't make it tonight, who reminds me once a year about the 10-pin I missed in the adult child league that cost us first place against his best friend in his end. My wife, Kathy, who's really the rock. She probably complained internally about me bowling and coaching, but she never externally tried to stop me from doing it. She didn't complain too often about how often I bowled or coached. She is herself a very good player who's on a hiatus right now. And one of my biggest, most challenging memories was the moments when I finally shot 300 and 800 in front of her. It was in Kimball on lanes 23 and 24, and Ron was there that night, and we were talking, and I didn't realize it. Before that, Kathy would once a month say, "Are you ever going to shoot an honor score in front of me?" I tried to tell her the 11 in a row is worth it. Didn't. So. But thank you, Kathy. When either Joey or Todd called, and when I can't honestly remember which one called, and told me that I had been selected, I had to gather myself. My heart raced. It took my breath away. The honor is bigger to me than folks may realize. And I thought any chance of this had happening had gone with my knees. I'm honored and proud to be inducted with an amazing group tonight, and to remotely feel like I'm on the same stage as those previously inducted is humbling. Thank you.
My name's Mike Briggs. I'm just an everyday house bowler at Blackstone Bowl. Nothing special. But before I start, I got a giggle a while ago from Doug Barker. I think Doug mentioned he had some problems with Vern Hughes on the match play. I think I'm over 5 now against Vern Hughes. A lot of fun getting clobbered. I had a good time. Anyway, this is probably the only time you'll see me here at Blackstone Bowl. I mean, here at Hall of Fame Bank. Unless they create a category for selling Bowl Strike tickets. That's about all I do. But tonight I'm here to introduce someone a little different. Not someone with a boatload of honor scores. Not someone just for service. Not someone who's made it to the PBA. He does lead the nation in one category. He has 3 300 games, which is the most in the nation for a legally blind person. He can see about 10 feet in front of himself. It's an amazing person, an amazing accomplishment. And we all know that there are a whole lot of people with normal vision that don't have a single 300 gig. My wife, Janet Briggs, is secretary of 3 leagues with 30 or more teams. Tim is president of each league. And he's handled many a difficult situation with diplomacy and explanatory kindness. He runs a mystery score jackpot. He runs the league when Jan and I are gone. All of this, being legally blind. It's impressive. A remarkably capable man for being legally blind. The Indianapolis Star did a newspaper article on him in 1997. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Tim James.
All right, so Todd said wing this, because I did not do a speech. But thank you guys for coming. Glad we can all get out finally and mingle about, have some fun. It's been a crazy year, but I want to thank my family, my wife, Sherry, my daughter, AJ. She's been up with me for 19 years. She actually got me started with coaching because she wanted to bowl. She started bowling at 3. She didn't really like it. She quit for a minute. And then she got back into it about, I think, a 4 or 5. Started with the bumper league, moved her way up. We were coached, well, I was in Kokomo when she started that. They actually said, hey, why don't you start coaching? You're good with the kids. Let's go ahead and coach. So, okay, so I did that. And then we moved down here, New Albany, in 2012. And I started at Ken Bowl. I called around to find out where we had youth leagues. We had one in Ken Bowl, which was very similar to what we were used to, so we did that one. And I ran into Doug. Doug says, you can coach. I was like, I can coach. I can't see what they're doing down here. He goes, you can coach. So thank you, Doug, for allowing me to coach down here, and that opened up some other windows down here. I started coaching for New Albany High School. I took a group. I had one student that was a bowler. That was AJ. So we took a non-existent bowling group, and we made it to semi-state in 2 years, and they finished 3rd. We were 4 points short of making it to state. But that was fun. The person that actually got me into bowling is no longer with us. That was Dave Walsham. He is totally blind. I ran into him at work. He goes, I bowl. I'm like, you do what? Like I say, he was totally blind. I was like, how do you bowl? He's like, well, come to the league. You can see how we bowl. And they actually have they have rails for the blind, so they can actually use the rail and help them figure out where to release the ball. I was like, well, if they can do that, I can do that. But before I get into that, I should not really be probably bowling. So back when I was a teenager, I went bowling with a group of people, and I had them at the table guess what my score was, and they were like 50s, 60s. I was like, you might want to go way lower. I had people trying to tell me how to bowl. I bowled a 3. 3 pins. That's all I got in one game. I was like, most people, probably 90% of people probably would have quit, right? And I picked up another bowling ball. And I didn't for quite a while, probably until I was about late 20s, early 30s when I started bowling. And that was thanks to Dave Boston for telling me that there was an avenue to bowl in. I didn't think that I was able to bowl in a regular sided league. Nobody's going to want me to bowl with them. I can't see what I'm doing. So I bowled in the blind league for a little while. Then I started thinking, well, maybe I can bowl in a regular league. So I did that after a couple of years. 3 years later, I bowled my first 300. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. So I've been bowling ever since. But my biggest thing is all of these, I guess, awards and high scores and all that is great. But my main thing is I want to see other people bowl better. I want you to be able to get on lanes and be your best and bowl good. I've had several kids that have never bowled before that are actually bowling really well now, and I'm happy to see that. We've had one kid that came to me recently, within the last couple of years. I was working at Ken Bowl on a Tuesday. He and his grandparents came to me and said, "Hey, can you help this kid? He wants to learn how to bowl." And I'm like, "Well, if you guys can come in on Tuesdays, I can help you." So we did that for a little while, and come to find out, he is bowling for Farrell. He is the team leader at Farrell. I was like, this is awesome. So it's just one of those success stories that is great. And that's what I want to do. I just want to help people and just help them in general and bowl better, but not just bowling, just be better people. You know, hopefully I've had an example of what I want from the lanes, and that's don't get upset. I mean, you know, you throw the ball hits, the pins don't do what they're supposed to do. There's nothing you can do about that. You just go to the next frame. And that's what it's all about. But thank you. I'm glad to be with the USBC. And thank you guys very much.
Good evening, everybody. I was a little close to that. My voice projects a little bit. I got to get used to that. Like most of you in this room, I have lost to Burning in match play as well, so it's okay. I gotta bring that up. The next inductee, and by the way, congratulations to all inductees this year and former and prior years. It's a great group of people. I know the man that I'm introducing is very honored to be a part of that group, and anybody else moving forward. It's a great group of people. I didn't meet Eric until 2005, 2004, before I graduated college. I had heard stories about him. And, very cocky guy, on the lane. He wasn't scared of anybody. I didn't really know that. I saw it occasionally, but I didn't really know that. But he was very confident. I think his favorite song, his walk-up song, would be "Cocky" from Kid Rock. Yeah. No, really. No. He's put up good numbers in his years. I mean, and that's why he deserves what he has. He has 37 300s. He has 23 800s. He's had multiple top finishes in some of the match plays, Masters, the Calcutta, the Kentucky Open. He's been in the final Sundays on those Kentucky Opens. Most recently, him and his wife won the mixed doubles just last year. Congratulations to you all, that's good. But man, just because of his numbers and knowing him, when you walk into a bowling alley, you're like, oh, he's a big presence, he's loud, he could have an attitude. He may, if you bend the rules, he'll call you out in a minute, I'm telling you now. But the man I know, he is a father, he is a husband, and that is his world. I know he grew up practicing hours on it, but when he started having kids, that was his focus. He started a career. He's been with the state police for 18 years. Hopefully, maybe he's getting ready to retire. We'll see. But I couldn't be more proud of this guy. I love him like a brother. And come on up here, brother.
I don't know who wrote that guy. I don't have a lot here. Told Todd I'd try to keep it short because I gave 10 minutes to Doug. But I do want to say a few things. I want to thank Chris for the introduction, the nomination. He was sitting at home, I guess bored out of his mind, reading Facebook, and I don't know if it was Joey or John, so whoever was putting posts up on Facebook about get your Hall of Fame nominations in, they're due, blah, blah, blah. I get a text, hey, what's your high average? Well, whatever. Hey, how many 300s, 800s have you had? Where the hell is this going? I need some of your accomplishments. By the way, I'm filling out a Hall of Fame nomination for you. I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. Appreciate that. Great. So, I was honored, you know, that if I make it through this without crying, I guess it's a miracle. I know my reputation, and Doug kind of talked. Guys, if you knew me when I was 18-year-old bowling, buddy, I was a handful, and I know it, and I've done my darndest to be a different person and to have a little more character than that, and Doug had a little bit to do with that. And it's true, a bowling ball did fall out of locker. Doug swings up and down. I did.
My mother's here, I can't say what I want to say.
So Chris, and with my reputation, you know, if you'd asked 20-year-old me if I'd ever been here, I'd said, oh, hell yeah. Wasn't nothing gonna stop me. I was gonna be here, no doubt. But if you'd have come and asked 40-year-old me, I'd have been like, oh no, it's gonna be close. And Chris brought the sheet over after he finished writing it up, just said, hey, just want you to read it before I turn it in. And I know that nominations are anonymous in this Flyers drive. I know nominations are anonymous. You know, they black out the names, and a lot of people know who's who. And Chris mentions in there that my time with the state police. And all I could help thinking in my head was, there ain't no way I'm getting it. Everybody, I mean, there ain't another, as far as I know, ain't no trippers that bowl. There's some that throw balls out of lane, but they don't bowl. So, you know, I couldn't help but think that it ain't gonna happen. You know, it is what it is. Numbers are numbers. Man, there are guys in here that have numbers that blow mine out of the water. I have beat Vern Hughes in match play once. I lost a Daniel Ferris, I tell you. But I beat Vern once. But at the same time, you know, I've done a lot, and I'll get to how this character has changed. I've done a lot to change my character in hopes that I could stand here one day. So with that, I want to thank everyone who voted. You knew who I was, and you still voted for me, so that means a lot. Because like Chris said, I am super honored to be a part of this. I know to a lot of people that it don't mean a whole lot, but it means a whole lot to me. I know it means a lot to the people in this room, and it's a great honor for me. I will say my earliest memory of the Hall of Fame, I grew up in a bowling alley where I had my mom and dad bowled. I spent multiple nights falling asleep in chairs at the Pro Bowl one. But I can remember my teenage years, Herb Lyons was Mr. Pro Bowl. And in the early 90s, Herbie got inducted. And I remember them announcing it at Pro Bowl when I was there. And I was thinking, I'll be there one day. And then my career took off, got on state police, and it took me away from bowling a lot for the first couple of years, working rotating shifts, night shifts, bowl when you could, nothing was really steady. And then when I finally got a schedule under control, I had these two little monsters. And I tell you what, as much as I love bowling, I'd much rather go watch them play baseball or basketball, or got the little one going to wrestle tomorrow. So bowling is everything, but man, them kids, nothing's more important than them. I did have the joy, my wife worked at Bullitt Central High School, and she got me on coaching Bullitt Central's high school team. I did that for 7 years. And as good as it feels to shoot your first 300, nothing compares to coaching a kid who, when he came to you in 6th grade, I had 6th and 7th and 8th graders when I coached high school. Kid came to me as a 6th grader, throwing a straight ball in the gutter all the time. He didn't bowl for the first couple of years, but he learned. And That young man shot 300. That was the first phone call. It means so much. And we get together here. That has been a lot. So, those young men that I coach, and some of them still coach today, or still bowling today, they are wonderful young men and were a huge part of my life and a huge part of the building of what the new Eric is and today's Eric. Because it wasn't so fun the first couple of years for him. I just made a few notes here, so. Real quick, I just want to thank people who came here for me tonight. Of course, Chris, you already hit him up, his wife Patty. Chris's dad and stepmom, Peg and Tom, drove down from Dayton, Ohio, just to spend this night with me. It means a lot. God puts people in your lives when you need them, so get together. My in-laws, Greg and Cindy, I bowled with Greg till this year. I got to find us a new league next year. Me and Greg bowl together. We play golf together. We spend a lot of time together. It's awesome. Couldn't ask for better in-laws. Cindy is as supportive as any. My Uncle Neil, growing up, he was another father for me. I spent weeks with him in Florida just to get away. He's back up here. Anytime I need anything, he's there. My stepmom, Val, she is the most huggingest person. She hugs more than Doug does. My sister came out. She could care less about bowling. When she bowled, she threw the ball. She was back before the ball ever got halfway done. But hey, she's here. Love her. My mom, she's the reason I bowl. I mean, every Saturday morning, she's the one taking me to the bowling alley. I didn't learn much from her. She threw a backup ball. I couldn't do that. I learned the most watching my dad. He's not here. I won't really lose this one. Let's move on, because I can't. But those people, instrumental. My boys are my life. Everything I do every day, my life is so busy. Trent was playing on 2 soccer teams, 2 baseball teams, a basketball team, and a volleyball team all the same time. It's like you can't keep up with all that, but man, it's so much fun, and I love them to death. Carter's my little monster. If there's anything I can tell them, guys, dreams come true. You put in the work, you do the hard work, dreams come true. Now for the most important person in my life, and the true reason that I'm even standing here today, because had she not come in my life, there ain't no telling what kind of hell you'd not be right here. My wife, Andrea, is the absolute rock of my life. Like I said, she keeps me grounded. Every time I want to pop off with something stupid, she slaps me. I won't even say it, but she's everything. Everything. She never. I don't bowl a lot of tournaments and stuff anymore because a lot of stuff's 2-day stuff. It's hard to get away for 2 days. But if I tell her, hey, I'm going to go bowl this, she's never once told me no. Don't ask me enough. But she's always there to support me. And if she's not there, I get home, how'd you do? She's always asking. But she's everything in my life. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Told me it wouldn't take too long. That was longer than it needed to be. But one last thing, and I got this quote from Garth Brooks, and as soon as I heard it, it was me. And it's like, I heard this the week before we were supposed to have the first ceremony. And I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it because I knew we were getting canceled. But I hope when people list years from now, that my name is not a shock. That's all I hope for. With that, thank you all. Congratulations to everyone. And who's next?
I'm honored to be a part of recognizing the people being inducted into the Louisville Metro USBC Hall of Fame this evening, and I'm especially honored to speak on behalf of Don Imes. This is what I submitted on Don's nomination form. I have coached the bowling team at PRB High School with Don for the past 10, and I have in parentheses, now 13 years. As a beginning coach, struggling with my confidence and my ability, he was encouraging every step of the way, and he helped me trust that my teaching instincts from the classroom could apply on the bowling lanes. He works as a teammate with our entire coaching staff, and he dedicates countless volunteer hours to work with individuals and small groups of bowlers to develop their skills and the love of the sport. Don has been an instructor and coach in the youth leagues at Dixie Bowl and Kimbo for many years. His PRB girls teams have won 8, in parentheses, now 10, state titles. And in most years when they did not finish first, they were in the finals or semifinals. In 2018 and 2019, the girls participated in the U.S. High School Bowling Foundation National Tournament, finishing 6th in 2018 and 11th in 2019 in the nation. Don has encouraged bowlers of all levels. He works with the philosophy that if young bowlers truly want to learn the game, he will do his best to teach them. Together, we encourage the bowlers to strive for academic excellence, to dedicate themselves to being a good team member, and to conduct themselves with integrity and good sportsmanship. As bowlers develop their skills, he encourages them to reinforce that knowledge by working with younger and less experienced bowlers and to pass on their love of the game. There are countless adult bowlers in this city who can attribute part of their knowledge of the game to their association with Coach Don Imes. Don has been a past member of USBC Greater Louisville Youth Board and the YABA Board. He is a bronze level USBC certified coach. He offers free coaching clinics in the hours before youth leagues begin at Dixie Bowl and at Kim Bowl in the summer, where youth bowlers can just show up and receive instruction, free instruction to improve their skills. He's been a part of coordinating and running a week-long summer bowling camp sponsored by the PRP bowling team for several years. He coordinates donations of used balls and equipment and makes those available to youth bowlers who do not have the means to get them on their own. He has conducted spring mini leagues for middle school students to introduce them to the game of bowling. I've worked with many people in the sport of bowling, but none more dedicated to sharing none with more dedication to sharing love of the game with our youth and with a commitment to doing things the right way with sportsmanship and integrity. While he is proud of his work, it is mostly because he takes pride in the accomplishments of the youth bowlers with the success they have as adults in bowling and in life. I'd like to add a few things to what I shared on the application. Don is fortunate to have a very loving and patient wife, Carol, who supports his work, cheers for his team, and shares him with all of us. When I speak of Don's integrity and sportsmanship, be sure that doesn't make him not want to win. He wants to win as much as anybody else. He has high expectations for all our kids, every match, every practice, every tournament. And in good times or bad, you will never hear a bigger voice behind you offering support, instruction, and encouragement. Thank you so much, Coach Don, for all your past contributions to bowling in this city and for all those to come, and congratulations for your well-deserved selection to the Hall of Fame.
Hey, everybody. First off, of course, I just want to thank God who, without him, we are not possible. We don't do anything. When I found out I was inducted to the Louisville Metro USB Hall of Fame, all I could think of was, wow. And what an honor. Thank you to Julie for nominating me, and for all of you that voted me again. Wow. Over the years, a lot of people walk up what happened to you? You tell them polio, most of them haven't got a clue to what that means. And for those of you that are here, they don't know what polio is. It's a form of cerebral palsy, and it attacks the muscles and everything. Mine was from the legs down, and that's why I'm on the crutches. And now, because I'm getting to be an old guy, that's why I'm in the wheelchair a lot of the times. I can honestly say that 30 years ago, when I started coaching, this was not my goal. This honor truly goes out to the thousands of youth bowlers that I've coached, helped shape into young, successful adults. I want to thank the multitudes of adults that have helped me shape me throughout the years as well. So thank you, Father God, for these gifts. Without you, nothing's possible. I want to thank my wonderful wife, Caroline, who gives up so many days, so many hours of my time. And it's literally 4 and 5 days a week, year-round, for over 21 years now. You're my biggest supporter and also my sounding board when I need it, and I would not be here without you. Congratulations to all the other folks that are being inducted as well. And as Doug put it earlier, especially my mentor, my friend, Doug Barker, who has spent lots of hours gleaning this information from at an early age when I didn't have a clue to what I was doing. We've spent a lot of years together. We still do every summer together. And what a great class of people that are here tonight, don't y'all think? I've got to watch Eric grow up. I got to watch Matt Ogle grow up. Did I coach those guys? No. But I was there early on when they were kids and they were learning. I was still learning at that point too. So this is what I do. That's what I love the most. High school bowling has led me to places I'd never think possible, to people I would have never crossed paths without it. However, each and every one of you have impacted me in ways I'll never be able to explain or repay. What got me here, I believe, is the magnitude of success I've had with coaching for the PRB High School girls team. I'm in the midst of my 21st year, and as Julie says, we have 10 state championships, but I was also responsible for the one championship that the boys have had as well. So yes, I have 11 rings, and it's kind of like the wives want to know, why do you need another bowling ball? Mine wants to know why I need another. I never brag about these accomplishments, but I do need to share a couple of stats. And believe me, this is truly God-driven, and it's not a reflection on me. In the 20 years previous, we've made the Sweet 16 18 times. Out of those 18 years, we've been in the actual championship game 15 times. This tells me we're doing something right, and I promise you that it's God-driven. We have accomplished this with me on first, and assistance from Doug Barker, Jim Jordan, Kevin Cox, Phil Bohannon, and now Cynthia Cox, and help from Julie Nicholson. We have several Bowlers of the Year recipients. We've had a lot of kids, and I mean a lot of kids, go to college. But one of our biggest prizes came this year. We were part of a young lady's life dream to be named the College All-American. So I want to thank my family that's here, my granddaughter, my grandson, my 2 adopted granddaughters, my church family that's here, and all of you. I want to thank you again, and most of all, thank you, Lord.
We'll be presenting for a superior performance and judgment from what I've heard. He has beat everyone in this room, not only once, but probably 2 or 3 times. At this time, I'd like to introduce 2018 inductee, Shawn Farrell.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the past inductees, the present ones that's going in, and the future ones that are here. But I'm here to tell you about this guy named Vern Hughes. Well, to first start off, I moved here in '93, getting out of service in the Navy, stopped here to see my brother, and ended up being dirty. And I got stuck. So I stayed here. '97, I started bowling again, and Vern was one of the first persons I met. And, oh man. So, hanging with Vern, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of etiquette from him, a lot of do's and don'ts, and I learned, well, Vern told me, you know, if you dress the part of bowling, you look good, you bowl good. And you bowl bad, you still look good. So, I got that from Vern. And Dan, I ain't seen him come with a t-shirt and shorts and tennis shoes, never. He's always been dressed to bowl, and he's dressed tonight. But I like the guy. He's like a family to me, real close. And about 99, when I started getting really into bowling, Vern kind of took under his wing. We went to Fort Knox. You remember that tournament, Vern? And we ended up being in the finals against each other. Well, I think Eric's the only one here that's beat him so far. Because I lost. And got my picture in the paper at second place. And I'm really inquisitive about Vern because he didn't start off bowling as a kid. He started off bowling later into his adult years. And when I first saw Vern bowling when I got here, I was like, "Ooh, he's smooth. I like his form, and I wanted to know him." So I got to know him, and he told me a lot of things, and a lot of quotes from Ewell. I asked a lot about Jim, because Jim, his demeanor walking around, bowling, the way he talked to you, he reminded me of the Godfather. And, you know, and when I asked Vern about the stuff that Jim passed along to him, he passed along to me, so I'm still learning from both of them. Even though Ewell, I don't think he's here now, but I still learn from Ewell now, I learn from Vern. And if you ever ask Vern a question about bowling, he's gonna give you both sides. He's gonna give you his side, then he's gonna give you the other person's side. He's not gonna tell you, you know, my side is right. He'll just give you the unbiased opinion. And that's what I like about Vern. And I don't know where I go a lot. I keep going on and on, but I know you want to get over with it. Just, yeah. Well, let's see, Vern. You've been bowling for a while, so you ready?
Most people that know me know I'm extremely nervous right now. Congratulations to all the inductees. Well-deserved honor. I feel like I don't deserve to be here, but I want to be here. I want to thank my bowling family, everybody that's here to support me. And I have a lot of special memories, and now I'm going to be really brief because I'm shaking. When I first started bowling, it's 1975, first time I ever picked up a bowling ball. And the city was struggling with busing. And there was a lot of controversy, a lot of hard feelings. And bowling, in the bowling community, there wasn't any of that. There wasn't any controversy. People were just bowlers. They didn't put politics in the middle of what we were doing. And there was a couple of guys that I was just fascinated. And everywhere they would bowl, I would just go watch them. I would stand in the back room, and I would stare at them and study. And one of those guys was Big Jim Ewell. I don't know how many of you guys know him. Most of you probably do. He was the godfather for me. Jim taught me discipline. He taught me how to conduct yourself, how to, mind your P's and Q's. I used to have a bad temper, like her. I kicked ball returns. Yeah. One particular day, I was bowling with Jim, And kicked the ball return. I had just left 10 pin after 10 pin. I was aggravated. And he said, come here. If you can't conduct yourself any better than that, pack your bags and leave. And come back when you figure out how to behave. I was humiliated, embarrassed, and ashamed of myself. He added that there were other guys standing back there watching you. They were measuring you. And you need to set a better example. And a couple of those guys, well, 3 of those guys are here tonight. Troy, John, Marcus. And he made it clear to me that whether you like it or not, you're a role model. And you have to behave yourself. I didn't kick any more ball returns in front of Jim. But I started breaking pencils. So every time I would get aggravated, once my cups started running over, I would break a pencil. So Sonny France told me, you got to pay me $10 for a box of pencils. Because I would break them and just throw them on the floor. And Sonny would come around and he'd see broken pencils on the floor. And he said, at the start of every season, you give me $10. I've pretty much stopped breaking pencils now, every blue moon. But I made a bet with Jock. Every time I break a pencil now, I got to give you $1. So I'm not giving him any dollars. The other big impact on my bowling, I'm here. I want you guys to believe me when I say I'm only here today because of all the people in the bowling community that have helped. I couldn't have done it on my own. I didn't have the fortitude. I didn't have the bowling intellect. The knowledge that you pick up as a junior and that you take with you into the adult leagues, I never had that. The first bowling ball that I ever drilled, Pat Earl drilled it for me. The second ball that I had drilled, Chuck Ferris drilled for me. And I cherished those balls for years. And you know, when you move around a lot, you lose them. But I always remember the patience that Chuck showed me. And we talked bowling. We would talk bowling for hours. And I don't forget the people that have uplifted me. The most important guy is here tonight. And this guy taught me style, technique, how to read the lanes, how to deliver your ball, how to pace yourself. And that guy's Vinnie Adrian. Vinnie saw something in me early on, and he would constantly work with me. We didn't spend hour after hour, but every time Vinnie saw me, he always had something positive to say, always gave me tips, pointers, leading me in the right direction. If I was doing something mechanical, Vinnie could just watch me throw a couple of balls and he'd just magically figure me out. Truly, I'm here today because of the help Vinnie gave. But there's so many other people here, man, that, Doug, every time Doug and I would bowl, we always hugged it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
We always hugged it out. And speaking of getting your butt kicked, I've never beat Matt. Matt's always beat my brains in, one-handed and two-handed. I've never beat Roy. Roy's a magician with the ball. And this California guy over here, him and his brother. I left Louisville briefly, moved to Cleveland. And when I left, man, I was kicking their butt. I was beating them left and right. I come back. These jokers are averaging 220, and I can't win a dime off of them. But they're my brothers. They're family too. And I'm going to close because if I keep talking, I'll get emotional. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate everybody for being here. And I'm not going to bowl much longer, but I'll always remember tonight. Thanks.
Our next presenter tonight for meritorious service is Jim Jordan.
All right, I'm honored to be in this room with a group of talented people. Based off some of the things I've heard, I have to say, I also lost the burn in the scratch league after we discovered that we both knew Owen Duke together, and he kind of got me off base. I wasn't paying attention to the score. He strikes out, he beats me by 10. It's like, I'm having a bad year, so I lost the burn as well. And on Eric, his maturity over the years, I saw that happen when my oldest son, who was maybe 10 years old, beat Eric in a match. He was bowling for scholarship. Eric was doing his thing, some sweeper that he was eventually probably going to win anyway. But my son beat him, and he went up to Eric and said, "Hey, I beat you." And instead of Eric throwing his tantrum, he patted him on the head, turned around, had an actual smile on his face, like, yeah, that was kind of cool. And he went on. I knew Eric was maturing at that point. That was about 20 years ago. No, it's 10 years ago. Yesterday. That was my youngest. He's about the time. The person I'm getting ready to introduce into, he's done a lot with the same things as Angie's done. He's been involved in the GLBA since I was probably 10 years old. I remember when I first met George, I was at the bowling alley. He bowled in the same league that my father bowled in. And back then, they used to keep the standings up on the wall, little flip boards, and you can flip through, see which averages you had in which league. And at the Houston Bowling Center on Fort Knox, there was these two pictures that hung above these standing sheets. One was a picture of George, and the other was Maurice MacArthur. I asked Dad, I said, "Why's George's picture up there?" He goes, "Oh, those are our lane reps from the GLBA up in Louisville. They come and, make sure everything's right and whatnot." So I got to understand. So for 40 years now, George has been part of a version of the GLBA, the USBC, the Metro. He's actually been in that part of transition. Even though they say old dogs can't learn new tricks, George actually adapted, was able to go with the flow on the changes. He was one of the first ones that actually started uploading league standings onto bowl.com. A lot of people that don't know George, it's because most of his work was on the outskirts of Louisville. He took care of E-Town, took care of Fort Knox, he took care of, I don't know if he took care of Radcliffe when they had a bowling alley back in the day. Brandenburg, I know he takes care of Brandenburg. And anybody that I know that had anything to do with the association always tell me and George does a great job. George showed up to every meeting. I was part of the USBC for a little bit, and it was like me and George and two other people always showed up to a meeting. But George was at every meeting. Every person that was ever in charge knew they could count on George. He'd be on every committee, and if he was on that committee was going to get his stuff done. If there was bookworks that needed to be checked out, George was going to make sure they got checked out. The other thing that George did was he made sure that bowlers were taken care of. I know just in Fort Knox itself, he created leagues for people who wanted a league that didn't know much about bowling. There was a APHIS company that started back in the 80s that he got a league started for. He took over a youth program that had died out. Nobody wanted to take take care of it. He had no grandkids at that time in the bowling program. Eventually his grandkid did go through it. He took care of that, made sure it is still running today. He now takes care of majority of the leagues in E-Town, whether secretary or just making sure they've got their P's and Q's together. George did a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that a lot of people don't see. I think, along with Angie, that was said earlier, he was part of that transition to where we're at today, and I don't think anybody can say without George it would have been as smooth as it was. I think he played an integral part of that. Now, while George is brought in on his service and everything, he has accomplished some things in bowling itself. He does have multiple 300s. He has has received money in tournaments and everything. One thing I could say personally is every time we went to nationals, for a long period of time, George was the only one that we could all get into century doubles with. And due to that fact, George's good bowling, some of us financially were rewarded for him being of age for us to get in. Nowadays, it's not so hard. We've all kind of got up to that point. So, I know George is coming in on service. He has also served our country for 28 years. So, I would now like to introduce to you retired First Sergeant George O. Weaver. And let me be specific, it's Weaver, W-E-V-E-R. Do not put an A in it. I did check the plaque when I got here, because if it had an A in it, it was somehow been my fault. George Weaver, everybody.
First of all, I really appreciate being inducted. Most of you probably don't even know me, but most of you I know because of working with GLBA over the Louisville Metropolitan. Every tournament they had, I was always there, so I got to know all you guys. Some of you, I really appreciate being in this club with you guys. I remember when Jim told me he nominated me for the Hall of Fame, and I looked at him and said, "You crazy as heck." I said, "I'm from the stick of the woods, Houston Bowling Center. It used to be Dixie Town, but now it's now B&B Bowling Lanes. Lynn Beans, who ever heard of Lynn Beans? Maybe Shawn did." I said, "Nobody knows me. How the heck did you nominate me?" Anyway, I sat in all the boards. I watched people get nominated. And I said to myself one time, someday somebody gonna feel sorry for me. But you know what? The last election I had, Joey said so. He said, "George, you made it." I said, "You need to go back and recount." But here I am. So I want to thank all the ones that voted for me and the board members that was kind enough to see I get in. So there's so many other people I can thank, but most of them is not here. Matter of fact, I grew up with 3 sisters and 2 brothers. And I'm the oldest one that follow you guys. The rest of them, they don't even know what a bowling center look like. When I talk bowling terms, they ask me, "What are you talking about?" I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. They don't even know what the inside of bowling center look like either. They play basketball, soccer, everything else. I was the only one that bowled. I really started bowling as an old man because I was drafted at the age of 22. And I got to Germany. Some friends of mine, there's only 3 of them still alive to this day. being a bowler. And I got used to the name. Matter of fact, in 1965, I bought a Dick Rubber 5-star, and I see that ball every day. I still have it. And then I got away from bowling because I became a drill sergeant. No time. I had to train soldiers to go to Vietnam. Then I ended up going to Vietnam myself. I came back, Fort Polk, Louisiana. I stayed here 5 years. I bowled some, and then I went to Germany. And my bunkmate, or my roommate, was a guy by the last name of Williams. The only thing I remember about Williams, when he got out of service, he bought a liquor store between 15th and 18th Street on Broadway, and I've never seen him since. But he taught me the bowling. And we went to the bowling alley, 12-lane house, no leads. So I asked the manager, why ain't you got no leads? He said, well, I'm a manager, but I don't know nothing about bowling. And that's when I became a secretary. Secretary, president, manager, whatever you want to call it. And I did that for 2 years, and I got to enjoy it. Then I came back to the United States. Somehow or the other, it followed me. But that was at Fort Knox, that election, and somebody that knew me from Germany said, I nominated George Weaver as secretary, and I've been doing it ever since. Some days I hate it, some days I love it, but I love it more than I hate it. Because every time, Jim can tell you, every time I say I'm giving it up, they all look at me like I'm crazy. You ain't going nowhere. So I'm still here. And I'm still saying I'm giving it up. So, like I said, I had no idea that I would last this long in the cemetery. I know one thing I'm proud of. My teammate, Tuesday morning teammate, she's 94 years old. She now has another Hall of Famer on her team. She has an average of 115, and she bowls a 110. Ooh, she's mad. But now there's two of us. Same bowling center. So once again, I'd like to thank all of you. I'd also like to thank my newly wife. Only been married for 2 years, but she's been putting up with me for 18 years and being a bowling secretary. Now, I let her do some of the work while I do the easy stuff. Thank you.
There's no introduction for this guy. I reached out to him when I was elected president 2 years ago about the vision I had with the youth, and he was like, I'm on board, whatever you need, I get your balls, I'll sign your stuff, I want to make a difference with you and these kids, and I greatly appreciate that. To induct him, he was his father inducted in 2018, Doug Ogle.
Sheets you got to bring up here in a minute. First of all, if you don't know me, you're not from around here. Second of all, my son told me to make it short and sweet because you got to be 9 o'clock up in Cincinnati on a bowling tournament and win it. So I'm going to do the best I can. I want to say one thing. We got two guys here that did a lot of work to get Matthew's thing into the, what do you call it, the application. Is Todd France and Chris Chandler. He was instrumental in getting everything done and everything like that. So I was going to read that, but I ain't going to take it away from them. I'm going to read my own. So, first of all, congratulations to Matt Ogle for being inducted into the Louisville Metro USBC, and also all the other inductees also. They're well deserved. It's a great honor to introduce my son, but it's also he's a great husband, father, and outstanding bowler. And most everybody knows that from the way he bowls. In his youth career, he had many honor scores and he won a lot of tournaments. He bowled his first 200 game at the age of 8 on 11/21/1992. That was his mother's birthday. And he asked her, "What do you want me to do for your birthday today?" And she said, "Bowl a 200 game." And he bowled a 201. So he did what he told he would do. I know he really liked me and Pam, taking him around all the time, different tournaments, out of state, in-state, locally, and everything like that, because they had to have somebody driving for him all the time. On his honor scores, most of them was over a two style of bowling. All of them are. Because when he first started out, he was one-handed. And in 2006, he had a wrist injury. And he thought the end of his bowling was over with. But he got with a friend of his and learned how to cradle that ball two-handed. I think y'all know who the two-handed guy is. Tony Lambert, the guy that inducted me 2 years ago. All we talked about was fishing, but anyway. Well, it forced him to start using two hands. I think personally, it has brought his bowling to another level. He has been bowling adult leagues and tournaments for 21 years. Of these, he has bowled a lot of honor scores, and I'd like to start out and tell you what he had. His highest average is 239, his high games 300, his highest series 858. He has over 90 plus 300s and over 50 plus 800s. His USBC ABC Open Championships, in 2008 he was 11th in a team event, 2009 7th in a team event, 2015 11th in singles, and 21st in all events, which is a good accomplishment for somebody who's not bowled as long as he did. In the local, in 2007 he was GLB Master Champion, 2012 GLB Match Play Champion. In 2014 and 15, he got the honors of being a bowler of the year. 2015, he bowled in the John McCarthy's Kentucky Open Championship, and he went undefeated for 15 games. 12 games, undefeated through the match play and won. His other accomplishments is the BTM, the Doubles Championship in Reno, Nevada. He did that with Jim Dunn, which lives in Frankfurt. He's got his own bowl shop there, pro shop. He's a 2014 Bowlers Journal Singles Champion in Reno. 2016, he was a 2-day leader of the USBC Masters in Indianapolis, and also bowled 2 300 games in a 4-game block. 5-game, I'm sorry. That's something that never been done before in the Masters. And I think he got, 2 rings for that? Yeah. Plus a crystal bowl, I think. And last but not least, his last accomplishment was 2019, the PBA Roth-Holman Doubles Championship. And I also would like to have a moment of silence for Mark Roth, who passed away yesterday. That's all I've got to say, and he can come up here and say what he wants to, then he can go to Cincinnati and win the tournament.
First of all, yes, I'm cold. That's why I have this jacket on. Everybody knows me, I am cold all the time. I didn't really feel like I had a choice but to be good at bowling. My dad knows the rule book front to back, word for word. That's what my bedtime stories when I was a youth. Yeah, so you would read that to me. Give a big thanks to Todd Smith. He put all this together for everybody. If I fall over tonight, I'm hoping that Eric's got some Narcan. Give me
Congratulations to all the other inductees and Hall of Famers, past and present. You know, they paved the way for me to be here today, so I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody that had a part to be submitting my application for this tonight. Like my dad said, was Todd France and Chris Chandler, and I believe Jeremy Coulter may have had a little bit to do with it, I don't know. But as a kid, I always thought it would be pretty cool to be in the Hall of Fame and to be in with you guys and gals that are in here, as well as my dad, is a great honor. I want to thank some of those that gave me some words of wisdom and some tips along the way. There's been a lot, 34 years, so I'm just going to put a few out there that stuck out to me. Terry Gilman, he's one of them. He put me in charge of his pro shops at the age of 17. I'm not sure why. I was just a dumb kid. But he always told me that, he said, you're going to have wrist problems when you get older. Well, thanks for jinxing me, because now I got to bowl like a 4-year-old. But he's helped me a lot over the years, given me balls, you know, kind of led me into the way to where I am right now. So my dad already gave you the rundown of the wrist injury. It was in 2006. I had carpal tunnel, went through 3 doctors. Took a few years off, or a few months off, and decided I was going to bowl two-handed with the help of Tony Lambert. Actually, just watching him because he's not much help. He basically just said, "You can figure it out." So I did. But it took a while to get to where I'm at. There's a lot of practice. You know, there's a lot behind the scenes to get to where I'm at, bowling two-handed. I'm not sure that there's anybody else currently in the Hall of Fame with one-handed and two-handed accomplishments that I have, but I'm just grateful to still be bowling. So now I'm just getting old, so any future injuries, that's the only excuse I got. Jimmy Wall and Alan Bishop, they're not with us anymore, but they always had something to tell me, whether it was good or bad, or I wanted to hear it or not. Vinnie Adrian, thank you for all the talks that you gave me, just the tips, tricks here and there. The one thing I'm glad that I didn't take from you is your bowling approach, because I'd probably still be bowling my first 300. Sorry, I didn't throw it out there. It's from the heart, I promise. Mike Wolf, for the hookups along the way, his guidance and introduction into the bowling industry, to use his shops daily, still today, and to get me into the BBA as well, to tell me who I need to talk to, who I don't need to talk to, helped me out a lot. Roy and Lisa Kello, most people don't know, they used to be my neighbors. We didn't actually know that until I bowled the first tournament. I'm not sure which one that was because we bowled a lot. But it's crazy how the tables have turned, because I remember getting their autograph at the Dixie Bowl tournament. They were bowling as local pros. So I got a little something for you guys. I got 2 signed autograph cards for you. I don't even know if they have any of those yet. So, but Roy spent quite a bit of time in the last few years to get my physical game back in shape. He still tries to work on the mental game, but it's almost impossible to fix. But he also gave me a saying to live by. Basically, I live by. It's don't ever give me a chance. And if anybody ever gives me a chance, I pretty much kind of shut the door on them and make it happen. So I appreciate you guys. You don't have to be so quiet. My wife, Stacy. You might want to read this. She's been a great supporter over the years. We've been married 13 years. One thing I remember, as you guys know, I have a lawn care business. I've been in business for about 19 years. And I remember in 2000, I think it was 14, I believe, 15 maybe, when I won the Bowler's Journal, I called her. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, her time, 10 p.m. my time. We were in Reno. And I told her I took the lead. The first thing that she said was, how much are you going to have to pay in taxes? Not congratulations, good bowling. What are we gonna get out of it? What are we gonna have to pay to Uncle Sam? So, but she's great. When I'm on tour, she takes care of the family, pays the bills, feeds the dog, does the laundry, dishes, takes care of our son, picks him up, does homework while working a regular job, so I can continue doing my training on the PBA tour. Doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you for the amazing support. I love you. Bill and Linda, my wife Stacy, it's her mom and dad. They think I'm the greatest bowler in the world. They give me a lot of support, and I appreciate it. I'm not sure why they think I'm the greatest bowler in the world, but whatever. My local sponsors, I have to give thanks to them, because without them I wouldn't have some of the support I have. Wolf's Bowling Supply, Papa Murphy's of Louisville, Thomas Car Wash, Local Health Solutions, United Environmental Solutions, Cook's Locksmith, Signs Now, Chevy Dude, Turbo, and DV8. I've been on DV8 staff for 11 years. 5 of those have been pro staff.
I support you.
I'm getting there. Just give me a minute. Last but not least, my parents. Pam and Doug Ogle. They basically took me to every tournament as a kid, dropped their plans, put their hard-earned money into me. They had all the support for me. Basically, was in a bowling alley probably the first 10 years of my life. Basically every night. Not because they wanted me there, because I wanted to be there. My dad always had his hands in something, whether it was being a secretary, a president, or just bowling in the league. He would always let me bowl until my hands bled or I couldn't walk. So that probably could have something to do with my wrist problem. There were countless tournaments that I never made a dime, whether it was scholarship money or as a young adult for cash. But they always believed in me and were always there for me, and I'm grateful for that. Dad still goes with me to most of my tournaments, PBA mostly. To cheer me on, he always has one tip for me. Have you tried one off the corner? I haven't tried one off the corner in 25 years, Dad. Probably not going to do that anymore. Just hope I can be half the dad that you are to me as I can be to Gavin. If I missed anyone tonight, I apologize. I've been waiting 19 months to have this speech, and I'm pretty sure I messed it all up. But, I won't waste any more time. Have a great evening, and I appreciate your time for coming out tonight. Thank
you. Congratulations to Matt and all of the 2000 class of 20, Angie Decker, Doug Barker, Tim James, Eric Smallwood, Don Imes, Brian Hughes, George Weaver, Matt Ogle. You're now official Florida of the class of 2020 Hall of Fame. The wait is now over. Congratulations.